So far is the left and right speaker. Like we realized they're supposed to have like a left and right speaker,
Yep.
and right now they only have one.
Okay. So sound is only coming out of one of the speakers?
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, that shouldn't be. Okay. So, you know how to turn everything on, and
Yeah.
okay, you're all good with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's shut the program down
Okay.
and start from scratch.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up Xair Edit,
All right.
and the first thing it asks us to do is to connect to the soundboard,
I see.
because the computer could be connected to this soundboard or that soundboard. It wants to confirm which soundboard you're using
I see.
and get connected to it.
Okay.
The default is for it to be connected by the cable,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a switch here where we can select whether it's cable or Wi-Fi in the building, or this operating as its own access point.
I see.
And so we've got it switched all the way to the left, which is for cable.
Okay.
And so it's got a direct physical connection, so
I
no
see.
problems with Wi-Fi.
I see.
And so I'm going to hit connect,
Okay.
and it's going to ask me whether I want to take the settings on the mixer and move those to the computer,
I see.
or take the settings on the computer and move those to the mixer.
I see.
Now, if I haven't made any changes in the computer, those are going to be the same, and it doesn't
Okay.
really matter.
All right.
But if I've gone through and raised up and down a few of the things or muted some of the things, then it's going to matter whether I'm overriding the PC with the mixer
I see.
or overriding the mixer with the PC.
I see.
And so generally you want to go mixer to PC.
Okay.
And here we can see you've got audio signal coming through from this computer.
Okay.
So you can hear the sound playing out there because we're playing Spotify here. So we've got some audio going from the computer into the soundboard. And you can see that happening right here. And you can also see the pulpit mic is picking up some sound.
Okay.
And those are unmuted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the Prairie Park snapshots down here to the GCCC
All right.
snapshots, and so I'm going to load in this snapshot, which is your space to work
Exactly.
with. And so you can make whatever changes you want to here, and it's not going to affect anything on our stuff. So we've got a number of things left over here from our setup, and so I'm just going to go in and delete a number of these names, because I'm assuming that the people in your congregation aren't the same names as the people in our congregation. So I'm just going through and I'm right-clicking on the scribble strips here,
Okay.
and I'm deleting what was there so that
Alright.
it's clear.
Okay.
And so it just lists the channel names now.
All right.
So I've left pulpit, and we can even change the color of that maybe to white to make it stand out a bit.
Okay.
And there we go. So we've got,
So may I ask what the alter means?
sorry,
What the alter means?
Uter.
Oh, uter.
There are two computers,
Oh, I see.
and so I named one comp, and I named the other Uter, computer.
Ah, okay.
So if you look down here
Oh, I see.
on the top, it says
Oh,
Uter.
uter. Oh, okay. Oh, neat. So this is this control the computer here. Okay.
Yes, so this is the sound from the computer on the left. Then this is the sound from the DVD player.
Okay.
And then this is the sound from the main computer
Alright.
that runs PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So if I pull up Spotify and have it playing, you can see that the sound comes through here, and that's where it comes.
Here we go. Okay, got it.
Sound good?
All right.
All right. So we've got the pulpit mic set up already.
All right.
And so the first thing that we want to check on the pulpit mic is it's a condenser mic, which means that it needs phantom power.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
So
I see.
an electrical signal goes out to the microphone, electrifies the microphone, and allows it to capture sound.
Okay.
And we see right here that the red 48 is lit up,
I see.
which says that electrical signal is going to that microphone.
Drinking from a fire hose.
That's why they're recording it. And so that type of microphone uses that electrical signal.
I see.
Other microphones could be damaged by that electrical signal if it goes to them when it shouldn't.
Okay.
So we don't have that on any of the other channels.
All right.
Only a condenser microphone
Condenser.
should have phantom power delivered to it.
I see.
And so you can set up each individual channel. And so if we click here, we come to the channel source menu. And you can see here phantom power is turned on.
Okay.
You can also reverse the polarity. And if you're having problems with the sound, if there's a hiss to it or a buzz to it, sometimes reversing the polarity can fix that. So if there's a microphone that's not behaving properly, try switching the polarity and seeing if it works. So you can just switch the polarity or switch it back.
Okay.
This allows you to link more than one channel together as stereo. So let's say you've got a keyboard on channels 5 and 6.
I see.
And there's two inputs from the keyboard, a left and a right.
Yeah.
And you want for both of those to go in as stereo.
Okay.
You can link those two channels together. And so I've linked channels 5 and 6. And if I move the slider on one, it moves the slider on both.
How do you
see how that works?
Yeah, about
Stereo link.
stereo link.
So I turn stereo link off, I can move them independently. I turn stereo link on, see how it bumped up right to the other one?
The one is linked with the 5 and 6, but not the 4 and 5.
Well, that's because I had 5 and 6 selected. If I go to 3 and 4,
Okay.
and I link it, 3 and 4 are linked. It's always the odd and the even. So 1 and 2 can link, 3 and 4 can link,
I see.
5 and 6 can link.
Oh, okay.
It always starts, so if I link 6, link 6 is automatically going to link to 5.
Oh.
So you just need to shift your channels around to accommodate that. Excuse me.
So it cannot be like if I link 5 and 8.
No, they need to be beside each other, and it needs to be odd even.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's 11, right? Sun, what they call it? Sun line or sun signal? Left and right?
Stereo signal? Yeah.
Stereo signal. Okay.
Now, here, we've got the opportunity to select your source from USB.
Oh, good.
So, there's a USB cable that runs to this computer, which means that if you have a digital audio workstation program installed on the computer, you can use that to further modify the sound.
Oh, I see.
Right? Okay. So you can open up Cubase or PreSonus Studio One, import the channel directly from the soundboard, modify the sound with effects in the program, and then here you select USB, and what comes is not the sound directly from the board, but the sound from the computer.
From the computer. Oh,
it also means you can record something before the service and play it back through this.
Oh.
Because if you hit play on the digital audio workstation, the sound from that is going to come through the USB, not from the soundboard. So even if nothing is happening live on stage, you can still have the pre-recorded material coming if this is selected as USB.
Oh.
Do you understand? Very few situations in which you're likely to do that.
But yeah, like probably we are gonna use it.
Yeah. So we've looked at the channel input. So you see, I'm moving through the tabs up at the top here. The next thing we can look at is the gate. And the gate. Let's say that you have a dog in your kitchen, and you don't want the dog to come in the living room, but you still want to go in the living room. What you do is you put in a low gate.
Yeah.
So about a foot high, so you can step over it, but the dog gets stopped.
Yeah.
So this is what we do with sound. Anything that's a very low sound, so the guitar is plugged in and there's a bit of a buzz, but it's very, very low. This automatically turns off the sound whenever it's not above a particular level.
I see.
And here we have our threshold. So this is the height of the gate.
I see.
So do you see how it's changing the red line there as I move this up and down, and it's changing the shape of the graph? So if I turn this threshold down very low, almost everything is going to make its way through.
I see.
If I raise this gate up high, less and less gets through as I raise it up. And so you listen, and if there's noise coming through, you raise the threshold until the noise goes away. Then you listen to someone singing and making sure that all their sound still comes through.
I see.
And if their sound is getting cut off, then you drop it back down again and find the balance in between.
I see.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. There are presets over here for presets. So I'm going to click on the vocal preset, and that's going to automatically set it as at the default microphone vocal level.
Oh, cool.
Make sense?
Yeah.
You can also do that for a kick drum, a snare drum, or an acoustic guitar.
I see.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then we're going to go to equalization. And equalization is where we shape the sound. So on the left are the low frequencies.
Yeah.
On the right are the high frequencies, and we can raise those higher or draw them down lower.
I see.
So, if we've got too much mid sound and it's too boomy and punchy, we can drop it down. If it doesn't have enough punch, we can raise that up. If it's not present, if it's not sharp enough, we can raise the high EQ.
Okay.
Or if it's too present, too tinny, we can lower the high EQ.
I see.
If it's too noisy, we can raise up the low cut, and take out some of the low frequencies. And so you can adjust the sound.
I see.
And so that's equalization. And then finally there's compression. Now if something gets too loud, it can be a problem.
Yeah.
And so this is the reverse of the gate. This is for sounds that are too high. How do we deal with that?
Okay.
And here you see the graph. This point here is the inflection point at which things start to be affected.
Okay.
So if there's sound coming through and it gets too loud, past this point, it starts to get affected by the compression.
I see.
And so if our compression, our compression right now is 3:1. Our ratio is at 3:1. That means that if the sound goes beyond that point by 3 decibels, it's going to reduce the sound by down to 1 decibel. So whereas if it was not affected by the compressor, it would be 3 decibels higher than where it is right now. It would only be 1 decibel higher than the limit that you set.
I see.
You understand?
Yeah.
If we increase the compression, so now our compression is increasing, and you see that line is shifting like this. Now we're at 7:1 compression. So if the sound goes 7 decibels higher, it's only going to allow it to go 1 decibel higher. So if it goes 14 decibels higher, it's going to allow it to go 2 decibels higher. So the more you put on compression, the more it keeps the sound from getting beyond the point that you set. And again, we've got a threshold. And so if I draw the threshold down, you can see that that whole graph is lowering there, which means that the point at which it's going to be affected comes sooner. So maybe at this level, it is going to get affected, whereas before, I could have talked this loud before it got affected. So it comes sooner, the change.
I see.
Do you understand?
Yeah. But so for that, what they call it, compression.
Yes.
So the more I like.
So this one we're coming top down. The gate we're coming bottom up, and the more you go up, the more of a change you're making. Compression we're coming top down, and the further you come down, the more of a change you're making. One deals from the bottom, the other deals from the top. Sounds that are too quiet gets washed away. Sounds that are too loud gets pushed down. So it's like I'm pushing on your head to try and get you through the doorway.
I see.
Right?
So the more I put on the compression, that means the
more
compression,
the more the sound is squashed down when it gets too loud.
I'm just concerned whether it's like a loose, there would be like a huge difference when the people speaking, like when people speaking loud,
Here's again, we've got presets. So for kick drum, snare drum, bass, and vocal.
What kick
and
means?
Sorry?
What kick means?
Kick drum.
Oh, kick drum. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Kick drum, snare drum, bass guitar, vocal.
I see.
And so if I click the vocal preset,
That will be.
It's gonna-
I see.
take it to a suitable sound. So it's got a ratio of 3, and it's got a threshold of negative 25 decibels.
I see.
Do you understand?
Uh-huh.
I can also adjust the knee and make it so that the knee is soft or hard,
Ooh.
that's the knee right there.
Oh.
So is that sharp or does it ease in?
Oh.
So the higher that number is, I think it's the higher it is, the more it eases in, so it's not as sharp a change.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me. Then here you've got your mix, and so if you want compression, but you want some natural sound still to bleed through just in case, we lower that down to 70%, and then a third will be the uncompressed sound, and 70% will be the compressed sound.
Okay.
So if you're worried that you still want it to sound natural, you can let a little bit through.
I see.
That is just the straight natural sound, unaffected.
Actually, that's my question.
Yeah, that's how you do that.
Yeah.
And then if you compress it so much that it gets too quiet, you can do gain to adjust it back up to where it should be.
Okay.
So squish it down and then raise the whole thing up so that it's within a tighter range but higher in volume.
So this gain is the gain on the mixer, right?
This is the makeup gain.
Oh, makeup gain. Oh, okay.
That is there to counteract the lowered volume from the compression.
I see.
And so the default is 6. But if you find that the compression brings the sound down too much, rather than just raising the main gain, you can automatically have it adjusted by increasing your makeup gain.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is about the how fast the compression comes in and how quickly it releases.
Okay.
You probably won't need to worry about that.
No.
Then we've got our sends. And so for the sends, channel 4 is what goes to the computer for recording.
Oh, okay.
Channel 6 is what goes to the stage monitors for people on stage to hear.
I see.
So if pulpit mic, we would never want to be in the monitors on stage.
No,
never monitors on stage for the pulpit mic.
Yeah.
It feeds back too easily.
Okay.
You only want pulpit mic to come out of the main speakers, never out of the monitors.
All right.
But vocal mics, we do want to be in the monitors. So this one was set up as a vocal mic. So you can see on channel 6, there is some channel 6 going
I see.
to the stage monitors.
I see.
Make sense?
Yep.
And so, generally you want to bring the volume level up to 0
All right.
on the pulpit mic, which is unity gain, which means nothing's being added and nothing's being taken away.
Yep.
If I move it above unity gain, I'm adding and increasing the volume of the sound naturally coming out of the microphone.
Yeah.
If I go below, I'm reducing it.
Okay.
But you can just select that value and hit 0 enter and it'll take you right to 0.
For sure.
If it's too loud at that point, you can come up here to the gain and raise or lower the gain to fine-tune each individual instrument for how much signal they need to be going in
I see.
for this to be at 0.
I see.
Make sense?
Cool. Yep. Then actually, my question is, well, here, like
For
like
which?
the computer.
Yes.
So the computer, we put a 100% on the
Yes.
left speaker.
Yes. There's a problem that I've just figured out how to fix.
Okay.
And so hopefully by next week I'll have been able to make the changes.
Okay.
The amplifiers are set up to have one signal going to 2 speakers, and there's a switch on the amplifier. So I set it up to go stereo out, and we have stereo speakers and stereo lines going to the speakers.
Okay.
But there's a switch on the amp that I didn't know about, and as soon as I flip that switch, we'll be able to run stereo.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, because sometimes because we use the background music to worship, right? So sometimes for that music, sometimes they use like left as like a vertical.
Well, if you don't have any more
sound?
questions, I can actually take a few minutes right now to try and fix that problem with the amplifiers.
Okay, if it's possible, that will be great. But I don't.
Okay.
I just worry if you.
Oh no, I've got a few minutes left.
Okay,
It should take about 10-20 minutes for me to get this done.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to turn off the amps.
So same thing, right? So off is from bottom to top, and the on is from top to the bottom, right?
You want to turn off the amplifiers first,
Okay.
otherwise they may pop.
So turn on the amplifier first. Okay.
No, turn on power first, then
Okay.
amplifier. Turn off amplifiers, then turn off power.
Hold on. You know what? Can you just show me how to turn it on? Because
Sure.
I
Let me
want
fix
to-
the
okay.
let me fix the amplifiers first,
All right.
and then I'll turn it all back on.